years, the questions kept coming up. Can a Bangladeshi use money earned here to legally set up a business abroad? For a long time, the answer was unclear and in practice, heavily restricted. Outward investments from Bangladesh has always been tightly controlled under foreign exchange regulations. But as the economy globalizes and entrepreneurs look beyond border, the conversation has shifted to both open up the opportunity in a controlled way so that now Bangladeshis can establish legal entities abroad through investments or equity swaps. I'm Kashfia Binte Hassan, an analyst at Lion City Advisory, and in this video, I'll walk you through what is formally permitted, who can apply and under what conditions, the investment limit and approval process, key compliance requirement, and what this means for entrepreneurs going global. So, what exactly is the structure for establishing business abroad? Bangladesh Bank is granting general permission to establish a legal entity abroad with up to $10,000 or equivalent in foreign exchange. This is granted under general permission, meaning you don't need case-by-case approval from Bangladesh Bank as long as you meet the conditions. But there are key boundaries. The investment must support a startup initiative, the entity must be properly registered abroad, remittance must go through an authorized dealer bank, the transaction must be reported to Bangladesh Bank, and if any incorporation doesn't happen, funds must be repatriated. So yes, you can now send a limited amount abroad to set up a company, but it must be structured and documented. Now, let's talk about who qualifies and under what safeguards. Firstly, resident Bangladeshi individuals, and secondly, resident enterprises incorporated in Bangladesh. But for companies, there are strict conditions. The company must have less than 10 years of operational track record in Bangladesh, full tax and regulatory compliance, investment must come from internal funds only, no bank borrowing, no refinance facilities, no use of foreign currency loans. And importantly, any earnings, dividends or capital gains from the overseas entity must eventually be repatriated back to Bangladesh. So yes, the door is open, but it's a carefully supervised door. Now, beyond eligibility, Bangladesh Bank also puts strong emphasis on compliance and monitoring. Investors are required to submit annual reports through their authorized dealer banks. This includes financial statements of the overseas entity, details of earnings, and confirmation of repatriation of dividends or profits. Any change in ownership structure must also be reported. So this isn't a one-time approval. It comes with ongoing regulatory oversight. And there's another very interesting provision. Instead of sending cash abroad, resident companies are also allowed to acquire shares in a foreign company through a share swap agreement. That means equity can be exchanged between a Bangladeshi company and a foreign entity, provided the valuation follows internationally accepted standards. This adds flexibility while still keeping everything within a regulatory framework. So for entrepreneurs, this is clearly an opportunity. But it's not just about sending $10,000 abroad. It's about structuring it properly, ensuring compliance, and planning for repatriation. And especially if you're considering a share swap agreement or arrangement, the valuation methodology, swap ratio, documentation, and regulatory alignment becomes critical. And that's where proper advisory matters. At Lion City Advisory, we help you structure the entire process, from eligibility, assessment to coordination with authorized dealer banks, and particularly in designing and valuing equity swap structures in line with international standards. Thank you very much for watching. If you're considering setting up a legal entity abroad, feel free to reach out, because when it comes to cross-border structure and valuation, precision matters.